Shall we begin?
Hello YouTube friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you for tuning in. Let's do an update on the Sump filtration system on that 150 here behind me. Let's take a look at how that's progressed and the kind of job it's doing, and maybe share some thoughts with you about the Sump. And I'd also like, of course, to get your input on it, as I am constantly learning and from the tips that you give. But let's take a look at the system, and let's go ahead and get underway. Thank you for tuning in. We'll start at the top, and let's start by taking a look at the Durso. In a prior video entitled "I Can't Sleep," I talk about this. This is the Durso, and that I installed. I made it from some parts. It's got a little algae on the top, a little green algae. I don't mind. And it is functioning perfectly, keeping things nice and quiet. As you can hear, someone asked about the skimming properties of an overflow box, and of course the water level is below the cutouts in the overflow box, so you are getting the benefits of skimming the water surface and pulling off anything that's floating almost to a fault. It actually pulls a lot of the food in, so I have to turn the sump off. I have to turn the sump off when I'm feeding, or else a lot of the food gets sucked into the overflow. These acrylic pieces that I had cut are working perfectly. They're keeping the moisture in and preventing preventing too much loss through evaporation. As you can see, my heaters are outside of the tank. It's been so warm out here, I don't need them, and I'll be possibly replacing those with shorter heaters so I can put them in the sump, or maybe figuring out a way with the use of the Durso to put them in the overflow box. And this is my feeding hole right here. I just open this up and feed them. And let's take a look at the sump. I installed this Phoenix Stingray light, which I mentioned in a previous video. I like it because it allows me to provide light to the plants. Here in the middle chamber, I have plants as well as an algae scrubber, and the algae scrubber is producing tremendous amounts of green algae that I harvest and feed to the plecos. And I replaced the pump I had here with a fluval dual outlet, and what that does is it gives me an outlet to run the algae scrubber, but it also gives me an outlet to run into the chamber with the media. So I'm running oxygen air into this chamber, providing additional oxygen for the media in the chamber. And you can see here there's quite a bit, starting with the bio gravel from Bio Home and on up through some bio balls that are sponge filled, and then finally some blue balls at the top. And I filled it to the very top, and there's some floss, some pinky floss on the tray, on the drip tray, so it's very quiet now. Once I close these doors, you can barely hear it. The middle chamber has the plants and the algae scrubber. The plants are actually potted in glass jars. I was getting too much of a mess by trying to use the gravel, and so they are planted in glass jars, and at some point I might even just remove all the gravel in the middle chamber and just leave the plants as potted plants. The sponge block that I bought is working perfectly, and as you can see here, I just pull it out once a week and just rinse it. I'm not using it for bio, so it doesn't matter if you just rinse it in tap water. If you go over here, one of the things I like about this Phoenix light is you can move it around, and I add a little bit of pinky on this chamber here because the water has to work over this one sheet of acrylic, and as you can see, it actually is capturing some detritus as the water works its way to the final chamber, which is the Rio 32 HF, rated at 1900 gallons per hour. But of course you lose some of that with the length of the tubing. You can see the tubing there. There's a little pad there, just like there's a pad there. Anything that has vibration can create noise, so I pad it to kill the noise. There is a valve there that prevents the tank from siphoning back. And in the very back of the chamber here, where the pump would normally go, or pumice to be more accurate, sitting back here in sort of a passive area. So it may be actually, hopefully, maybe it's creating some anaerobic bacteria. So the sump is working perfectly, and I still have that large plunger on there that I bought from a hardware store to prevent flooding, but I was going to take it off and put something a little bit more elegant looking, and but I'll tell you, it's very easy to turn the pump off. I just reach in and do this. That's it. I'm not messing with any plugs, you know, and so it's very easy when I want to feed them and stop the pump. Then to restart it, I just lift it up, and there we go, we're good to go. So that's real easy for me, and I know there's certainly better looking and more elegant solutions, but for now, this is working for me. So, so that's the update on the sump. I'm going to close this up so you can hear it. I run those lights about 10 or 12 hours a day for those plants. Very, very quiet. And for those of you who haven't watched my prior sump videos, I also have a, in the return, there's a hole. There's a hole that was cut just above the water line, and that also breaks the siphon in the event of a pump failure. I have a very nice high door wave maker there, creating additional water motion towards the inputs of the 704B and the overflow box, which runs on the side of this tank, which is called a peninsula style tank. And there's the intake for the 704B. Of course, the ultimate test is how are the fish doing, and as you can see, fish are doing very, very well, very healthy, and active, eating, and doing all the kind of things that you would want to see in healthy fish. So there you have it. As is the case with most fish keepers, everything is a work in progress, always evolving, and at any rate, as you can see, the system is functioning perfectly. Its noise has been dialed down to an acceptable level for a tank that's in a bedroom, and I'm very, very happy with it. And of course, as you can see with the fish, they seem to be enjoying the extra filtration, the extra water volume, and all the other benefits of a sump filtration system, such as diluting down parts per million. So there you go. Comment below, and be sure to hit that bell that you see right below the video here. There's a bell. Be sure to hit that so you get notices, and also come over and visit us at the Facebook page. I'll post it right here at the Facebook group page, and also follow on Instagram at ben.o.cichlid. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.